Jai. Jai. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya. Shivi. Go ahead. Go ahead. Shivi Guru Charana Padma Kebala Bhakti Sadma. Shivi Guru Charana Padma Kebala Bhakti Sadma. Bando more sabada nama te. Mate. Bando more sabada nama te. Jahara pasade bai I baba tu ya jah bai Jahara pasade bai I baba tu ya jah Krishna Bhakti ho jahate. Krishna Bhakti ho jahate. Guru Mukha Padma Bhaksha Shetete Koyaksha. Guru Mukha Padma Bhaksha Shetete Koyaksha. Anakoya mane asa. Anakoya mane asa. Shivi Guru Karanarate Eshi Utamagate.
Karanarate Eshi Utamagate.
Shivi Guru Karanarate Eshi Utamagate. Jai Pasade Puri Sarva Asa.
Jai Prasade Puri Sarva Asa.
Jai Pasade Purisharva Asa Kakudana Dil Jai Janme Janme Prabhu Se Akudana Dil Jai Janme Janme Prabhu Se Divya Jane Ade Bhakta Sito Divya Jane Ade Bhakta Siko Prema Bhakti Jahote Abhijabana Sajati Prema Bhakti Jahote Abhijabana Sajati Vedegai Jahakararito Vedegai Jaharatarito Shivi Guru Karana Sindhu Adamara Jana Bandhu
Guru Karuna Sindhu.
Shivi Guru Karana Sindhu Adamara Jana Bandhu
Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Chanara Bandhu.
Lokenath Loke Jivana
Lokanath Loke Rajivana.
Lokenath Loke Jivana Aha Prabhu Koya Doya Diyo Moda Parachaya
Prabhu Koro Doya Deho More Parachaya.
Aha Prabhu Koya Doya Diyo Moda Parachaya
Prabhu Koro Doya Deho More Parachaya.
Ibeja Chakto Chubhavana
Vijash Gosho Tribhuvana.
Ibeja Chakto Chubhavana
Vijash Gosho Tribhuvana.
Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada
Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutare Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namini Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutare Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaudapani Pacharini Nevesesa Shunyabadi Bhatyata Deshatadini
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadada Shivasari Gaura Bhaktabinda
Igora Bhaktavinda
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadada Shivasari Gaura Bhaktabinda
Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shiva Sarigora Bhakta
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama Rama
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna 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 Krishna
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Guru Puja Ki Jai Jai Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivajagacharya Shtadhara Saraswati Srimad His Divine Grace Sisi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Vipati Phongacharya His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivajagacharya Shtadhara Saraswati Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Thakur Ki Jai Ananta Kori Vaishnav Vrinda Ki Jai Namachar Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shadvaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Sham Kun Radha Kun Gir Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Mathura Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Purushottam Kshetra Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Shri Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai गंगा माया जमुना माया की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, श्रीमती तुलसी देव महारानी की जय, शिवगरार हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय, Srila Prabhupada's Transcendental Books Distribution की जय, बृहत मृदंग की जय, श्री श्री परमकरताय गौर चंद्र की जय, सामवेद गौर भक्तवृंद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदी. All glories to the assembly of devotees, all glories to the assembly of devotees, all glories to the assembly of devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachati Shatare. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only ways by which can attain pure devotional service. I belong to his lotus feet degree awe and reverence. By his grace, one cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes and fills my heart with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates, by him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scripture sings of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor and Lord and Master of the devotees. O Master, please be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is for all of the three worlds. We take shelter at your lotus feet. You are the safe of the most fallen. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimati Tulsi Dev Maharani ki jai. Vrindaya Tulsi Devyaya Priyaya Kesavasya Vishnu Bhakti Pada Devi Sachavataya Namo Namah. Vrindaya Tulsi Devyaya Priyaya Kesavasya Vishnu Bhakti Pada Devi Sachavataya Namo Namah. Vrindaya Tulsi Devyaya Priyaya Kesavasya Vishnu Bhakti Pada Devi Sachavataya Namo Namah. Srimati Vrindadevi Tulsi Dev Maharani ki jai. Namo Namaha Tulasi Krishna Priyasi Namo Namaha. Radha Krishna Seva Pavo He Abhilasi. Je tumhara sharanaloy tara vancha purna hoy. Kripa kore kora tare Vrindavana vasi. Morae abhira Belas kunjadi ava. Nayane Devasara Jagalaru Parasi. Enivedanadharo Sakiranugata koro Sevare karade koro nijarase Dina Krishna rasi koye jina morai Dina Krishna rasi koye jina morai Shri Radha Govinda preme sadaji navasi Shri Radha Govinda preme sadaji navasi Yanikani cha papani brahma charikani cha Tani tani pranashante pradikshina pare pare Yanikani cha papani brahma charikani cha Tani tani pranashante pradikshina pare pare Yani kani cha papani brahma charikani cha Tani tani pranashante parikshana pare pare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani, Jaya Tulsi Maharani. Jaya Vrindadevi, Jaya Vrindadevi, Jaya Vrindadevi, Jaya Vrindadevi. Vrindadevi, Jaya Vrindadevi. Srimati Vrindadevi Tulsidev Maharani ki jai. Vrindaya Tulsidevyaya Priyaya Kesavasya Vishnu Bhakti Paradevi Sachavataya Namo Namah. Srimati Tulsi Dev Maharani Ki Jai. O Tulsi, beloved of Krishna, I warn before you again and again. My desire is stopped in the service of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. Whoever takes shelter of you has his wishes fulfilled. Bestow your mercy upon him, you make him a resident of Vrindavan. My desire is that you will also grant me residence in the pleasure groves of Sri Vrindavan Dham. Thus that in my vision I'll always behold the beautiful pastimes of Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. I beg you to make me a follower of the cohort damsels of Braj. Please give me the privilege of devotional service and make me a road-made servant. This very fallen, lowly servant of Krishna praise may always sing the love of Sri Sri Radha and Govinda. Srimati Tulsi Dev Maharani Ki Jai.
Gauravane pracharine nirvishesha shunyavadi paschatya deshatarine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Rama Rama
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Rama
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama Rama Krishna. So we want to welcome all the devotees who are here, joining physically, as well as those who are joining us on the various social media platforms. So this morning as we are here, we want to inform you that today's Sunday feast will be done on behalf of a few of the devotees or devotees who are not so well, have been in the hospital. So there is Sevananda, Bhakta Sevananda, this baby boy of Avinash Prabhu and Paramdam Mataji for the last few days, been in very critical condition at the GPHC. So we are all here. We're going to offer these kirtans, these bhajans, and whatever readings, discussions as an offering, praying for the blessings of Lord Krishna, our Lordship Sri Shri Nitai Gaur Chandra, that they are in full control, they know what is best, and that we can be able to understand their plan for this boy. And also, just last evening, we got the news that His Grace Radha Jivan Prabhu from Borbis, he also was rushed down to the hospital. So this morning, that is the mood, very prayerful one, seeking the blessings for their speedy recovery, for Sevananda, and also for Radha Jivan Prabhu. So also do remember that we are all gearing up for Janmashtami. So from Thursday we'll have programs. Thursday and of course Friday will be Janmashtami day. Entire day of activities. Saturday Srila Prabhupada's Vyasa Puj, 126th appearance anniversary of His Divine Grace. And then we'll come back here for another Sunday feast. So we'll have Mayapur Chandra Prabhu to lead us in a bhajan. So we'll be doing Radha Krishna Prana Mora, bhajan glorifying the pastimes of Lord Krishna and Srimati Radharani. So the lyrics will be on screen so that everyone can follow. So we'll read the translation in the meantime. So it says, the divine couple, Shri Radha and Krishna, are my life and soul. In life or death, I have no other refuge but them. In a forest of small kadamba trees, on the bank of the Yamuna, I will see the divine couple on a throne made of brilliant jewels. I will anoint their dark and fair forms with sandalwood paste, scented with chua, and I will fan them with a chamara whisk. Oh, when will I behold their moon-like faces? After stringing together garlands of malati flowers, I will place them around their necks, and will offer tambula scented with camphor to their lotus mouths. With the permission of all the Sakis headed by Lalita, Vishaka, I will serve the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. Narottam Das, the servant of the servant of Sri Krishna, Chaitanya Prabhu, longs for this service to the divine couple.
Radha Krishna Prana Mora Jugala Kishore
Radha Krishna Pranamo Jugala Kishore
Jivane Marane Gati Aranai Mo कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगला किशोर
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगल किशोर
जीवन मरने गति और नहीं मोरा
जीवने मरने गति और नहीं मोरा
कलिंदिरा कुले केली कादंबेरवाना
कालिंदिया कुले के कादंबेरवाना
रतन बेदीरा उपरा वो सब दुई जाना
रतन वीरा उपरा बोशबरु जाना
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगला किशोर
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगल किशोर
समगोरी अंगे दिव चुवचंदनेर गंधा
श्याम गौरे अंगे दिव चुआ चंदन गाना
चमर दुलाब कभे तेरी मुका चंद्र
चामरा दुलाव कवे हेरे मुख चंद्र
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगला किशोर
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगल किशोर
गतिया मलाते मला दीपदहर गले
मलाटी मला दिवोदोहर गले
आधारे तुलिया दिवो कर्पूरतम भूले
आदारे तोलिया देव कर्पूरातंबोले
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगला किशोर
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगल किशोर
ललिता विशाखाधि जात सखी वृंदा
ललिता विशाखारी जात सखी वृंदा
आज्ञया करिब सेवा चरणारविंदा
आज्ञाया करिबा सेवा चरणारविंदा
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगला किशोर
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगल किशोर
श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु दासरनुदास
श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु दासरनुदास
सेवा अभिलाषा करे नरोत्तम दास
सेवा विलासा कोरे नरोत्तम दास
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगला किशोर
राधा कृष्ण प्राण मोरा जुगला किशोर
जय राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम जय राधे श्याम
जय राधे श्याम राधे श्याम राधे श्याम जय राधे श्याम
जय राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर श्री राधे
जय राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधा श्याम सुंदर राधे।
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी
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 गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवारधारी
गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवारधारी
यशोदनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन
यशोरनन्दन व्रज जनरञ्जन
यमुनतीरा वनचारी
यमुनातीरा वनचारी
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी
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 जय राधा माधव राधा माधव राधा माधव श्री राधे
जय राधा माधव राधा माधव राधा माधव श्री राधे
जय राधा माधव राधा माधव राधा माधव श्री राधे
जय राधा माधव
Kunja Bihari. Everybody.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari.
Shishiyadha Madhava Ashtashaki ki jai.
Hare Krishna. So we want to welcome all of you again. And for those of you who came in a little late, we were saying that today's Sunday feast has been done as a dedication, praying for the speedy recovery of Bhakta Sevananda, one of our devotee baby boy here at the temple, and also for one senior devotee of our community in Borbis, His Grace Radha Jivan Prabhu. So we'll be doing Mangalacharana prayers, and then we'll be reciting one chapter of Bhagavad Gita, the 8th chapter, and then we'll have some little discussions after. So all of us, we can do together. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Darati Swapadantikam. Vandeyam Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Sra Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Sa. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratashe Namaha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute. Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubheva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatyarishatarine. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. So we'll be doing 3 Mahamantras, 3 chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, and we will raise our hands, both hands. We'll raise it like this. Do you think you can make it to raise our hands like this to chant 3 mantras, 3 Hare Krishna mantra? So we can do together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So thank you. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namah Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
So as we mentioned, we'll be doing this chapter, the 8th chapter. So one person will recite the Sanskrit, and then Mayapur Prabhu along with all of us will read the translation as it's shown on the screen there. Arjuna Uvacha Kim Tat Brahma Kim Adhyatmam Kim Karma Purushottama Adibhutam Cha Kim Proktam Adidaivam Kim Uchyate.
Arjuna inquired, O my Lord, O Supreme Person, what is Brahman? What is the Self? What are fruitive activities? What is this material manifestation? And what are the demigods? Please explain this to me.
Adiyagyaha katam khuatra Dehyasmin Madhusudana Prayana kale cha katam Geyosi niyatatmabhi.
Who is the Lord of sacrifice, and how does he live in the body, O Madhusudana? And how can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death?
Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Aksharam Brahma Paramam Swabhavaryatma Muchyate Bhuta Bhavo Bhavakaro Visarga Karma Samgitaha.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the indestructible transcendental living entity is called Brahman, and his eternal nature is called Adhyatma, the Self. Action pertaining to the development of the material bodies of the living entities is called karma, or fruitive activities.
Adibhutam Shadobhava Purushascharidhaivatam Ariyagyo Ahamevatra Dehi Dehabhritam Vara.
O best of the embodied beings, the physical nature, which is constantly changing, is called Adibhuta, the material manifestation. The material form, the universal form of the Lord, which includes all the demigods like those of the sun and moon, is called Adidaiva, and I, the Supreme Lord, represented as a super soul in the heart of every embodied being, am called Adiyagya, the Lord of sacrifice.
Antakale chamam eva smaran muktva kalevaram ya prayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra samshayaha.
And whoever at the end of his life quits his body remembering me alone, at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt.
Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram tam tamevaiti kaunteya sada tadbhava bhavitaha.
Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, that state he will attain without fail.
Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu mamanusmara yudyacha mayarpita manobudhir mameva shyasi samshayaha.
Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna, and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without doubt.
Abhyasa yoga yuktena chetasananyagamina paramam purusham divyam yati partanuchintayam.
He who meditates on me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O Partha, is sure to reach me.
Kavim Puranam Anushashitaram अन्योरणीयं समनुस्मरेद्यः सर्वस्य धातरमचिन्त्य रूपम् आदित्यं वर्णं तमसा परस्तात्.
One should meditate upon the Supreme Person as the one who knows everything, as He who is the oldest, who is the controller, who is smaller than the smallest, who is the maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material conception, who is inconceivable, and who is always a person. He is luminous like the sun, and He is transcendental beyond His nature.
प्रयाणकाले मनसचलेन भक्त्या युक्तयोगा बलेन चैव भ्रुवुर्मध्ये प्राणमविश्य सम्यक् सतं परं पुरुषमुपैति दिव्यम्.
One who at the time of death fixes his life air between the eyebrows, and by the strength of yoga, with an undeviating mind, engages himself in remembering the Supreme Lord in full devotion, will certainly attain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yadaksharam Veda Vido Vadanti Vishanti Yadyataya Vitaragaha Yadichanto Brahmacharyam Charanti Tatte Padam Sangrena Pravikshe.
Persons who are learned in the Vedas, who utter Omkara, and who are great sages in the renounced order, enter into Brahman. Desiring such perfection, one practices celibacy. I shall now briefly explain this to you. This process by which one may attain salvation.
Sarvadvarani samyamya manoridhi nirudya cha murdhini adyatmaha pranam ashtito yoga dharanam.
The yogic situation is that of detachment from all sensual engagements, closing all the doors of the senses and fixing the mind on the heart and the life air at the top of the head. One establishes himself in yoga.
Omiti kaksharam brahma vyaharan manusmaran ya prayati tyajan deham sayati paramam gatim.
After being situated in this yoga practice and vibrating the sacred syllable Om, the supreme combination of letters, if one thinks of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and quits his body, he will certainly reach the spiritual planets.
Ananyacheta satatam yomam smarati nityashaha tasyaham sulabha parta nitya yuktasya yoginaha.
For one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain, O son of Pritha, because of his constant engagement in devotional service.
Mam upetya punarjanma dukalayam shashvatam napnuvanti mahatmanaha samsirim paramam gata.
After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the highest perfection.
Abrahma bhuvana lokaha punaravartinu arjuna mamupitya tu kaunteya punarjanma na vidyate.
From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again.
Sahasra yoga paryantam aharyad brahmano vidu ratrim yoga sahasrantam teho ratra vido jana.
By human calculation, 1,000 ages taken together form the duration of Brahma's one day, and such also is the duration of his night.
Avyaktad vyaktaya sarva prabhavanti aharagame ratriyagame praliyante tatraiva vyakta samyake.
At the beginning of Brahma's day, all living entities become manifest from the unmanifest state, and thereafter, when the night falls, they are merged into the unmanifest again.
Bhutagrama saivayam budva budva praliyate ratriyagame vasha parta prabhavati ahar agame.
Again and again, when Brahma's day arrives, all living entities coming to being, and with the arrival of Brahma's night, they are helplessly annihilated.
Parastasmattu bhavanyo avyakto avyaktat sanatanaha yasa sarveshu bhuteshu nashyatsu na vinashyate.
Yet there is another unmanifest nature which is eternal and is transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested matter. It is supreme and is never annihilated. When all in this world is annihilated, that part remains as it is.
Avyakto akshara iti yuktas tam aho paramam gatim yam prapya nivartante taddama paramam mama.
That which the Vedantists describe as unmanifest and infallible, that which is known as the supreme destination, the place from which, having attained it, no one returns, that is my supreme abode.
Purusha sapara parta bhaktyas labhyastvananyaya yasyanta stani bhutani yena sarvam idam tatam.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than all, is attainable by unalloyed devotion. Although he is present in his abode, he is all-pervading, and everything is situated within him.
Yatra kalitva anavritim avritim chaiva yoginaha prayatayanti tam kalam vyakshami bharata shabha.
O best of the Bharatas, I shall now explain to you the different times at which, passing away from this world, the yogi does or does not come back.
Agnir jyotiraha shukla sanmasa uttarayanam tatrapayata kachanti brahma brahma vidojana.
Those who know the Supreme Brahman attain that Supreme by passing away from the world during the influence of the fiery god in the light at an auspicious moment of the day, during the fortnight of the waxing moon, or during the 6 months when the sun travels in the north.
Dumuratristataha Krishna sanmasa dakshinayanam tatta chandramasam jyotir yogi prapya nivartate.
The mystic who passes away from this world during the smoke, the night, the fortnight of the waning moon, or the 6 months when the sun passes to the south, reaches the moon planet, but again comes back.
Shukla Krishne gatihi iti jagata shashvate mate ekaya yati anavritim ananyaya vartate punaha.
According to Vedic opinion, there are two ways of passing from this world, one in light and one in darkness. When one passes in light, he does not come back, but when one passes in darkness, he returns.
Naite shriti parta janan yogi muyati kashana tasmat sarveshu kaleshu yoga yukto bhavarjuna.
Although the devotees know these two paths, O Arjuna, they are never bewildered. Therefore be always fixed in devotion.
Vereshu yageshu tapasu chaiva daneshu yat punya palam pradishtam atyeti tat sarvam idam viditva yogi param sthanam upayati chadyam.
A person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the results derived from studying the Vedas, performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all of these, and at the end he reaches the supreme eternal abode.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So that was 8th chapter. Talks about attaining the Supreme, how we can leave this world and go back, back to the spiritual world, our eternal home. So for the next 20 minutes or so, we'll be reading from some of the pastimes of Krishna, actually leading up to the appearance of Krishna, because as we said, we'll be observing Janmashtami on Krishna Janmashtami on Friday. It's 4 days program beginning from Thursday, but Friday will be the main program in the evening from 5 to midnight. So the idea of being here is that we want to prepare our consciousness, prepare our minds, prepare our hearts to receive the Lord, to welcome and to usher the presence of the Lord into our hearts. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, wherein the pastimes of Krishna are being described in great detail, that is the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Srila Prabhupada has summarized those pastimes in what is called the Krishna book. So I hope that you can get for those of you who don't have this book or you never read from this book, our gift shop downstairs have copies, so you can get yourself a copy. But all the pastimes from leading up to the appearance of Krishna, his childhood pastimes, his pastimes as a teenager, all the way, so many wonderful pastimes are there. This book has 90 chapters, so those pastimes are very nicely described. So when Krishna was present or appeared in the womb of Devaki, the Devatas from the heavenly planets, they were offering various prayers in glorification of Krishna. So we're going to read a little from this chapter. It's a lengthy chapter, but we're going to read a few of the paragraphs. It's the name of this is the second chapter in the book. It's called Prayers by the Devatas for Lord Krishna in the Womb. Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, thus entered the body of Devaki from the body of Vasudeva without being subject to any of the conditions of an ordinary living entity. Since Krishna was there, it is to be understood that all his plenary expansions, such as Narayan, and incarnations like Nrsimha and Varaha, were with him, and they also were not subject to the conditions of material existence. In this way, Devaki became the residence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is one without a second and is the cause of all creation. Devaki became the residence of the Absolute Truth, but because she was confined within the house of Kamsa, she looked just like a suppressed fire or like misused education. When fire is kept in a jug, the illuminating rays of the fire cannot be very much appreciated. Similarly, misused knowledge, which does not benefit the people in general, is not very much appreciated. So Devaki was kept within the prison walls of Kamsa's palace, and no one could see her transcendental beauty, which resulted from her conceiving the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Krishna's coming to this world, in Bhagavad Gita it is said that Yada yada hi dharmasya glanati bharati bhavata abhyutanam adharmasya tadatmanam shrijamyaham. That the Lord himself says that, when he appears in this planet or in this world when there is a time of irreligion, a very dark time, when there is a time of a lot of miscreants or persons who are following demonic lifestyles. So, when there is a predominant rise of irreligion, he also comes to protect his devotees. And he comes to destroy the miscreants. Those are like the primary reasons why Krishna comes to this world. So, his coming is not like our coming. Our coming is through material boards. But for Krishna, we don't often use it, we don't try to use the word bored, because bored will appear as if Krishna is an ordinary person, that he is conditioned, to the different things of this world. Like if Krishna is conditioned to birth, he's probably conditioned to disease. He probably gets old, or he gets diseased. But mind you, have you ever seen a picture or any depiction of Krishna in old age? Have you ever seen Krishna with a cane walking down? Have you ever seen gray hair or wrinkled skin? Have you ever seen Krishna in a hospital, going to the Balwant Singh Hospital, or let's say, the GPHC for checkups? No, Krishna don't go for these kind of checkups, or he doesn't get old. Even when he comes to this world, Krishna always looks very youthful, very charming, and he's always with his friends, right? He's always with the cows. He's always with the inhabitants, we call the Brajabasis, the residents of Vrindavan, or Dwarka, or Kurukshetra. So he's always performing various pastimes, but by saying that Krishna doesn't get old, he's ever fresh, he's ever youthful, that already tells us that he's different from us. His body is spiritual, whereas our body is material. And Krishna does not go through the different conditionings of this world. Like we, as we're all speaking and listening here, we are getting old. With every second passing, our bodies are getting older, right? So that's the difference. Kamsa, however, saw the transcendental beauty of his sister Devaki, and he at once concluded that the Supreme Personality of God had taken shelter in her womb. She had never before looked so wonderfully beautiful. He could distinctly understand that there was something wonderful within the womb of Devaki. In this way, Kamsa became perturbed, because he was sure that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who would kill him in the future, had now come. Kamsa began to think, quote, "What is to be done with Devaki? Surely he has Vishnu or Krishna. Surely she has Vishnu or Krishna within her womb. So it is certain that Krishna has come to execute the mission of the Devatas. And even if I immediately kill Devaki, his mission cannot be frustrated." Kamsa knew very well that no one can frustrate the purpose of Vishnu. Any intelligent man can understand that the laws of God cannot be violated. His purpose will be served in spite of all impediments offered by the demons. Kamsa thought, quote, "If I kill Devaki at the present moment, Vishnu will enforce his supreme will more vehemently. To kill Devaki just now would be a most abominable act. No one desires to kill, even in an awkward, no one desires to kill his own reputation, even in an awkward situation. If I kill Devaki now, my reputation will be spoiled. Devaki is a woman and she is under my shelter. She is pregnant, and if I kill her immediately, my reputation, the results of my pious activities, and my duration of life will all be finished." He further deliberated, quote, "A person who is too cruel is as good as dead, even in this lifetime. No one likes a cruel person during his lifetime, and after his death, people will curse him. On account of his self-identification with the body, he must be degraded and pushed into the darkest region of hell." Unquote. Kamsa thus meditated on all the pros and cons of killing Devaki at that time. Kamsa finally decided not to kill Devaki right away, but to wait for the inevitable future. But his mind became absorbed in animosity against the personality of Godhead. He patiently waited for the delivery of the child, expecting to kill him, as he had done previously with the other babies of Devaki. Thus being merged in the ocean of animosity against the personality of Godhead, he began to think of Krishna or Vishnu while sitting, while sleeping, while walking, while eating, while working, in all the situations of his life. His mind became so much absorbed with the thought of the Supreme Personality that indirectly he could see only Krishna or Vishnu around him. So, this is very interesting because, you see, all of us, we are all here. When we come to the satsang, when we come for the program, we will hear from the scriptures, from the Bhagavad Gita, and so that one of the things that we should all try to do is to remember Krishna as much as possible, 24 hours, every day in our lives, even when we are sleeping. So you might ask, should we remember the Krishna even when we are dreaming also? Yes, we should dream of Krishna also. And also during the day when we are working, when we are eating, every activity that we are doing, it should help us to remember Krishna. So that is the process that we are all following, because we want to become close to Krishna. So just like in any material relationships, in material relation, when one person wants to get close to another person, they try to serve that person and they try to do all the things to remember that person. So this process is like that. So what is happening here? We are seeing that Kamsa, being the brother of Devaki, Devaki is gonna soon become the mother of Krishna. So Kamsa is debating within his mind what to do, not to kill her or to kill her now. So he decided not to. But then he's constantly thinking of this person, of Vishnu, of Krishna, that he cannot stop thinking of Krishna. So let me ask you, how is Kamsa's thinking of Krishna different from what we are trying to think? Is it the same? How is Kamsa thinking of Krishna? Who can say? Kamsa is thinking of Krishna in a bad way. He wants to kill Krishna, right? So even though we are all trying to cultivate that, our minds, train our minds, we're all trying to train our minds. Like if we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. By constantly chanting, by constantly calling the names of Krishna is one very practical and important way by which we can remember Krishna. So the point is that we are trying to remember Krishna, to serve Him, to pray to Him, to glorify Him. But Kamsa, he is not going to do that. He's engaged in thinking about Krishna, but in a very inimical way, in a very bad way. So his thinking, even though automatically because of anxiety, because of of worries, he's thinking about this Krishna, about this Vishnu, but that's not in a devotional way. That's different. That's in an inimical way. Unfortunately, although his mind was so absorbed in the thought of Vishnu, he's not recognized as a devotee because he was thinking of Krishna as an enemy. So that's the point. That's the punchline. The state of mind of a great devotee is also to be always absorbed in Krishna, right? But a devotee thinks of Krishna favorably, not unfavorably. To think of Krishna favorably is Krishna consciousness, but to think of Krishna unfavorably is not Krishna consciousness. At this time, Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva, accompanied by great sages like Narada and followed by many other devatas, invisibly appeared in the house of Kamsa. They began to pray to the Supreme Personality of Godhead in select verses, which are very pleasing to the devotees and which award fulfillment of their desires. The first words they spoke acclaimed that the Lord is true to His vows. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna descends to this material world just to protect the pious and destroy the impious. That is His vow. The devatas could understand that the Lord had taken His residence within the womb of Devaki to fulfill His vow. And they were very glad that the Lord was appearing in order to fulfill His mission. So when the Lord comes, He comes with a specific mission. Each incarnation of the Lord that comes to this world comes for a specific purpose, to execute a certain kind of mission. Then the Devatas address the Lord as Satyam Param. So what is the meaning of Satyam Param? The Devatas address the Lord as Satyam Param, or the Supreme Absolute Truth. Everyone is searching after the truth. That is the philosophical way of life. The Devatas give it information that the Supreme Absolute Truth is Krishna. One who becomes fully Krishna conscious can attain the Absolute Truth. Krishna is the Absolute Truth because, unlike relative truth, he is truth in all three phases of eternal time. Time is divided into three aspects. What are those? Past, present, and future. Krishna is truth always, in the past, in the present, and in the future. In the material world, everything is being controlled by supreme time, in the course of past, present, and future. But before the creation, Krishna was existing. And when there is creation, everything is resting in Krishna. And when this creation is finished, Krishna will remain. Therefore, he is the absolute truth in all circumstances. If there is any truth within this material world, it emanates from the supreme truth, Krishna. If there is any opulence within this material world, the cause of the opulence is Krishna. If there is any repetition within the material world, the cause of the repetition is Krishna. If there is any strength within this material world, the cause of such strength is Krishna. If there is any wisdom and education within this material world, the cause of such wisdom and education is Krishna. Therefore, Krishna is the source of all relative truths. So this is a very nice point, very valid point, because many times we see or we are exposed to persons who are very learned, or some persons who are very powerful, have bodily strength and vigor, or some persons who are very famous, or persons who are very beautiful, right? Or persons who are very detached, they are very renounced. So, Krishna, it is said that all of us, how are we similar to Krishna? If someone asks you, are we similar to Krishna? Yes, the answer is yes. But how so? So, it is so because we all have some little bits of qualities, different amounts of qualities that Krishna has. Like these are some of the qualities mentioned here, that he is all powerful, he is all famous, he is the most beautiful. The very word Krishna means all attractive, right? And who Krishna attracts? He even attracts Cupid, right? The god of love. Even Cupids become enchanted by Krishna. So Krishna can attract anyone in this world. So the point I'm trying to say is that all of us have small quantities of the qualities of Krishna. So that's why when you see someone who is very famous in our society, or someone who is very learned, or someone who is very skillful, very powerful, then you can directly relate to say, where are they getting such beauty, such fame, such strength, such knowledge, such understanding from? Where are they getting that from? Krishna is the source. They're getting it from Krishna. So we can be able to appreciate Krishna indirectly by when we see one another around us, we can be able to recognize that such and such person have those abilities due to Krishna's mercy, Krishna's blessings. This material world is composed of 5 principal elements. Those elements are earth, water, fire, air, and ether. So everything we see in this world is made or is composed of these elements. Even our bodies. These bodies that you're seeing, these physical bodies, are made up of these elements. So if someone asks you, how can I make a human? What materials, like for making a house, right? What are the materials you need? It all depends what kind of house you want to make. You want to make a concrete house or a wooden building? Wooden building, you will use some wood. You need some screws, some bolts, some nails. You need some tools and all those things. But the ingredients basically are wood, main ingredient. And for concrete structure, you need sand, cement, stone. Those things are like the primary elements. So similarly, if someone asks you, how can I make a human body? What do you use to make that? So human form or anything in this world, human body also made of these elements: the earth, water, fire, air, ether. In fact, every raw material that exists, every raw material, including the sand, stone, wood, whatever raw materials are there, it's all made of these different proportions of these elements of air, earth, water, and so forth. This material world is composed of these 5 elements, and all such elements are emanations from Krishna. The material scientists accept these 5 primary elements as the cause of the material manifestation. So even the scientists, they appreciate and they understand this. But the elements in their gross and subtle state are produced by Krishna. The living entities who are working within this material world are products of his marginal potency. In the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, it is clearly stated that the whole manifestation is a combination of 2 kinds of energies of Krishna, the superior energy and the inferior energy. The living entities are the superior energy, and the dead material elements, which are his inferior energy. In its dormant stage, everything remains in Krishna. The devatas continued to offer their respectful prayers unto the supreme form of the personality of Godhead, Krishna, by analytical study of the material manifestation. What is this material manifestation? So they are asking, what is this material manifestation? Is what is this material world? What is this world that we are living in? What is it all about? It is just like a tree. A tree stands on the ground. Similarly, the tree of the material manifestation is standing on the ground of material nature. This material manifestation is compared to a tree because a tree is ultimately cut off in due course of time. A tree is called vriksha. Vriksha means that which will be ultimately cut off. Therefore, this tree of the material manifestation cannot be accepted as the ultimate truth because it is influenced by time. But Krishna's body is eternal. He existed before the material manifestation. He is existing while the material manifestation is continuing. And when it will be dissolved, he will continue to exist. Therefore, only Krishna can be accepted as the absolute truth. So you see, this analogy of the tree, the devatas, they give the analogy of the tree to show that tree, it means that after something it will be cut down. So it goes to show, that analogy is given to show us how temporary things are in this world. Do you agree that things are temporary in this world? Yes, because you see, everything is changing. Constantly things are changing. Everything keeps changing in this world. One time everyone is very happy. Another time everyone is feeling very depressed, very distressed. One time, we are all young. And another time we become old. One time we are very healthy. At other times we are very sick. So this world is like that. It is said that this world is full of something called dualities. Dualities, it means that things are constantly changing from good to bad, from winter to summer, from happiness to distress. Those are examples. The Katha Upanishad also cites this example of the tree of the material manifestation, standing in the ground of material nature. This tree has 2 kinds of fruits. So you see, this is what we are talking about. What are the 2 types of fruits? Distress and happiness. Those who are living in the tree of the body are just like 2 birds. One board is a localized aspect of Krishna known as the Paramatma, and the other board is the living entity. So this is a very important point. Krishna, he resides within us, in our hearts, as Paramatma. That is a localized form of Krishna that resides within our hearts. So what he does? So the analogy is given that there are two boards, right? Just try to picture or to imagine there's a tree, like let's take a mango tree for instance, and there are two boards sitting on the same limb or the same branch, and one board is taking or tasting the fruit, a mango fruit, very ripened mango fruit is there, and one board is like really enjoying and tasting the sweetness of the mango. But the other board is just looking on. He's just observing, witnessing how this one board is enjoying this mango fruit. So similarly, in this world, the soul that is present within this body, the soul which is us basically, we are performing all kinds of activities. Sometimes we perform very pious activities, very good activities. Sometimes we perform very charitable activities. Other times we perform sinful activities or activities which are against the will of Krishna. So we are performing different activities like that. So that performing of various activities is compared to, the bird who is eating the mango, who is eating the fruit. And, the other bird who is witnessing, who is observing us, it's Krishna. So that's why the saying is there that no matter how far you go, no matter how much you try to hide from Krishna, you cannot hide from him. So, sometimes we may think that, if I perform this activity, I will not perform it at a temple. I will perform it some very far place so that God cannot see me. Do you think that's possible? You can perform some acts which the Lord cannot see you? No, because He's always with you. You cannot hide from Him. He's always with you. So wherever you go, whatever you do, He always sees. He always witnesses. But He doesn't say anything to you right away. Many times He just witness. Witness means that He's not going to say things right away. The living entity is eating the fruits of the material manifestation. Sometimes he eats the fruits of happiness, and at other times he eats the fruit of distress. But the other board is not interested in eating the fruit of happiness or distress because he is self-satisfied. So that is Krishna. He is self-satisfied. The Katha Upanishad states that one board on the tree of the body is eating the fruits, and the other board is simply witnessing. The roots of this tree extend in three directions. This means that the root of the tree is the three modes of material nature: goodness, sattva gun, passion, raja, and ignorance, tama. Just as a tree's roots expands, so by association of the modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, one expands his duration of material existence. The taste of the fruit are of four kinds. So everyone in this world are looking for three things. According to Vedic understanding, Vedic knowledge, everyone is performing four things. What are those? The taste of the fruits are of four kinds. The first one is dharma, which is religiosity. Second one is economic development, or artha. It's called artha. And there is sense gratification, kama, and ultimately liberation. So everyone is looking for, dharma. There's always four things are there: dharma, artha, kama, and moksha, which are, sometimes we want to be a little religious. We come to the mandir, we come and be in satsang. We work, we all, everyone is trying to to earn in to support and to so that you can live a certain kind of convenient life. That is economic development. So when you earn, what is the next step? Everyone wants to enjoy. It wants to enjoy our senses, and then at some later time in our life, sometime we think, well, when we get old, then we'll think about moksha, or when we die, then we'll talk about moksha or liberation. So that is the general tendency by human beings. They try to work on these four things. According to the different associations in the three modes of material nature, the living entities are tasting different kinds of religiosity, different kinds of economic development, different kinds of sense gratification, and different kinds of liberation. Practically all material work is performed in ignorance, but because there are three qualities, sometimes the quality of ignorance is covered with goodness or passion. The taste of these material fruits is accepted through five senses. The five sense organs through which knowledge is acquired are subject to the six kinds of whips. So these are like, whips. When we talk about whips, you can think of if a child is getting licks or is getting some good whipping by the parents. So this is what we also get. When we try to enjoy our senses, the material nature, gives us these whipping. So one is lamentation, illusion, infirmity, death, hunger, thirst. These things come. This material body or the material manifestation is covered by 7 layers: skin, flesh, bone, marrow, blood, fat, and semen. The branches of the tree are 8: earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and ego. There are 9 gates in this body: the 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears, 1 mouth, 1 genital, 1 rectum. And there are 10 kinds of internal air passing within the body: prana, apana, udana, vyana, samana, etc. The 2 boards stated in this tree, as explained above, are the living entity and the localized Supreme Personality of Godhead, Paramatma. So these are very informative readings, and these prayers, these are messages given by the Devatas to help us understand this person. If you want to get close, we said that many times, if you want to get close to someone, first thing you have to try to understand who is that person. What that person likes, what he doesn't likes. All those things, we have to understand all the features, everything we try to understand, in great detail. So similarly, if we want to understand Krishna, we have to do research. Where we go to do the research? In these books, in these texts, we try to research about Krishna. Like so much points are mentioned here by the Devatas in their prayers to the Lord about him. So, as we're all here, just in a few days' time, we're going to observe Janmashtami. That's not just a ritualistic festival. That's not just another program or another festival. It's a very significant festival because the idea is that we should pray for Krishna to appear in our hearts, right? So when Krishna appears, it means that all the tamas, all the rajas, all the modes of passion, all the ignorance, all the darkness within our hearts will be cleared. Just like in the presence of the sun, you don't see any darkness. But in the absence, so the presence of the sun is compared to be, like Krishna being present. When Krishna or God is present within our lives, it's a different thing. We are able to understand who we are. We are able to understand what is the purpose of this life. We're able to understand, what will be or where we are going after we quit this body. Those are real questions. Those are valid questions which we have to question ourselves, or we have to ask ourselves from time to time. So, by more and more, if we're able to understand these facts, to understand more about Krishna, then we'll be able to develop a desire to serve him. We'll be able to develop a desire to be in His company, or to be amongst the people who who He likes, His devotees, basically, right? So often the saying goes that tell me your company, and I show you who you are, right? So if you want to, serve Krishna or to become a bhakt, if you want to become a bhakta of Krishna, then who you have to associate with? You have to associate with His friends, His devotees. So that's why you're all here, to encourage one another to more and more, try to understand, to learn more, and to chant more. When we chant, our mind becomes clear, our consciousness becomes clear. Presently, our consciousness or our minds it's been covered. How it is covered? It is covered like when you see the sun out there, and it's covered by some big dark clouds. Have you ever seen that? The sun is there, but you have some huge clouds that has covered it. So our consciousness, being in this world, it has become covered in such ways. So by performing these activities of chanting, of hearing nicely, of performing pujas in our homes, worships, of offering obeisances, dandavats, chanting and kirtan, reading. All these activities are there to more and more absorb our thoughts, absorb our minds in remembering and glorifying Krishna. So I'd like to pause here. So based on what we read, what we discussed, do you have any questions or comments? What would you like to add? I'm sure you have been thinking something in your mind that you want to share with us, or something that is not clear that you want to ask. Go ahead, Prabhu. So you want to know what should we do about that, right? So very, very nice question. Sometimes we chant, we are here even in the mandirs, or we at home at our altars, or wherever we are, and we're trying to chant. We're trying to do some meditation, some japa meditation. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And then, whilst you're trying to do that, your mind is telling me, what would I have for lunch? What will be there for breakfast? Or I have this meeting at 1 o'clock. I have to go for this meeting, or I have to go to the bank, or I have to go and get my car, or my friend is coming out to see me. How I'll have to get everything ready and prepared to greet my family. So much things, so much thoughts, unlimited thoughts keep running through your mind, even faster than what is the fastest thing, in this that we know of? Maybe a jet or an airplane or something like that runs or flies at a very fast, some 500 kilometers per hour, right? So it's like that. Our minds, we can all be sitting here. Do you know, right? The mind travels faster than anything else in this world. You can be sitting here, and your mind, just by sitting here, your mind can travel to Bombay or Delhi or New York or London and come back. Yes, that's how fast mind travels. At lightning fast, lightning pace, the mind travels. So what do we do in such a situation where we try to chant and our mind is going here, there, and everywhere? Well, what you can do is that you try. There are various things that you can do, but whatever you do is that, you just have to make a deliberate effort to try and to bring back the mind. And to do that, one of the things that we try to do is that when we are calling on a name, when you're chanting Hare, Krishna, or Ram, you try to hear what you're chanting. If you try to hear what you chant, it's very easy to keep the mind with you. But it will go and come, But by practicing to be attentive to hear what you are chanting, That is one technique, or that is one way that you can able to stop the mind from traveling. Another thing that is very important is the environment. We call it a sacred space. Now you want to meditate, you want to chant, you have to find a sacred space. You know, it's not so easy to go and to sit by the roadside or to go by the mall. If you go by the mall and you're going to do your japa, your meditation, how easy is it? Or let's say, not even go so far. Right in our homes, if we put on a Netflix, I'm sitting on the sofa and the movie is showing, can I see the Netflix and also do the chanting? No, not possible, right? Our thoughts, our minds will be absorbed in that only. We have to switch it off for some time. You have to tone down, and we may even have to lock the doors and some of the windows, so that we kind of have some quiet time. So that's why Prabhupada would recommend. Prabhupada would always say that, you try to wake at least 4 o'clock in the morning. Now, from 4 to 6 in the morning, it's very nice, it's very conducive, it's very quiet. Also, that time is filled with the mode of goodness. The mode of sattva gun, the mode of goodness, the morning hours is all in the mode of goodness. So now when you try to chant then, when you try to pray or chant then, you can easily, your mind, is very peaceful, it's very conducive for you to chant. It's very easy for you to chant. So these are some practical things that you can do. What other questions are there? Is that okay? Yeah, we should try those. Let's try those few things, and when we come back next week, we can see if it works. What else? What else? What other questions do you have? If you don't have questions, I can ask you questions. I have a lot of questions that I can ask you. But my thing is that I don't know if you'll want to answer me. Because I wouldn't want to ask a question, then you don't want to give me answers. So nevertheless, we want to thank you all for being here. Thanks, for being so attentive. We do hope that, the little discussion was of some value to you and you feel inspired to do more in terms of prayers, in terms of chanting, in terms of worshiping, in terms of being in satsang. So that's why we want to, invite everyone to come for the special Janmashtami program. So we'll tell you in more detail after the artik. So we want to invite everyone to please stand, come forward for beautiful artik ceremony to their lordships. Shri Shri Nitai Gaur Chandra, Shri Shri Paramakar Nitai Gaur Chandra, or Krishna and Balaram. So these are the forms of the lords that are present here. Jaya Nitai Gaur Chandra, Jaya Nitai Gaur Chandra, Jaya Nitai Gaur Chandra, Jaya Nitai Gaur Chandra. Jaya Parama Karuna, Jaya Nitai Gaur Chandra, Jaya Parama Karuna, Jaya Nitai Gaur Chandra. Jaya Paramakaruna Jaya Nitai Gaurachandra Jaya Paramakaruna Jaya Nitai Gaurachandra.
Nitai Gaurachandra Jai Shri Paramakara Nitai Gaurachandra Bhagwan Ki Jai. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachari Nirvishesha Shunyavadhi Pashatadishatarini Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare
Hare
Hare.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha.
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 Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha.
Gopa Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudana. Shri Gopa Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan. Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan. Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan.
Giridhari Gopinath Madana Mohan.
Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita.
Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita.
Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita.
Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Sita.
Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita.
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 Shri Rupa Shri Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath.
Shri Rupa Shri Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath.
Shri Rupa Shri Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath.
Shri Rupa Shri Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath.
Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa 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 Raghunath.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare
Hare
Hare.
Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Jaya Parama Karuna Nitai Gora Chandra. Jaya Parama Karuna Nitai Gora Chandra.
Jaya Parama Karuna Jaya Nitai Gora Chandra. Jaya Parama Karuna Jaya Nitai Gora Chandra.
Jaya Nitai Gora Chandra. Jaya Nitai Gora Chandra. Jaya Nitai Gora Chandra. Jaya Nitai Gora Chandra.
Jaya Nitai Gora Chandra. Jaya Nitai Gora Chandra. Jaya Nitai Gora Chandra. Jaya Nitai Gora
Jaya
Chandra.
Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada.
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada.
Nitai Gora Hari Bol Hari Bol Gora Hari Bol.
Nitai Gora Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gora Hari Bol.
Nitai Gora Chandra Bhagwan ki.
Jai Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivajagacharya Shutar Sadashara Shishimad is the Vaingre Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. Jai Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivajagacharya Shutar Sadashara Shishimad is the Vaingre Sisi Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON BVT founder Acharya is the Vaingre Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivajagacharya Shutar Sadashara Shishimad is the Vaingre Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Thakur ki jai. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नमः श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंज राधाकुंज गिर गोवर्धन की जय। श्री मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। श्री पुरुषोत्तम श्री जगन्नाथ पुरी राम की जय। श्री नवद्वीप मायापुर धाम की जय, गंगामय जमुनामय की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, श्रीमती तुलसी देव महारानी की जय, श्री गदाधर हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय, श्री Prabhupada's Transcendental Books Distribution की जय, बृहत मृदंग की जय, श्री परमकर्णिताय गौर चंद्र की जय, सामवेद गौर भक्तिवृंद की जय, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदी. All glories to the assembly of devotees, all glories to the assembly of devotees, all glories to the assembly of devotees, all glories to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Namaste Narashringaya.
Namaste Narasingaya.
Namaste Narashringaya.
Namaste Narasingaya.
Praladaladaine. Iton Shringa Paraton Shringa
Iton Simha Paraton Simha
Yato Yato Yamitaton Shringa
Yato Yato Yamitaton Simha
Pahena Shringa Hridayena Shringa Narashringamadhim Sharanam Prapadhe.
Narasingamarim Sharanam Prapade.
Narashringamadhim Sharanam Prapadhe.
Narasingamarim Sharanam Prapade.
Tava Kara Kamalavare Nakamadbhuta Shringa Kalita Hiranyakashipu Anubringa Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare
Kara Kamala Varenaka Adbhuta Shringa Dalita Hiranya Kashipu Tanu Bringa Keshavareta Narare Rupa Jai Jagarisha Hare Jai Jagarisha Hare Jai Jagarisha Hare
Keshavadrita Narahari Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare Jai Jagadisha Hare
Keshavarita Narare Rupa Jai Jagarisha Hare Jai Jagarisha Hare Jai Jagarisha Hare
Jaya Nrsingadev 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 Jaya Nrsimhadev.
Jaya Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev.
Jaya Prahlad Narasimha Jaya Prahlad Narasimha Jaya Prahlad Narasimha Jaya Prahlad Narasimha.
Jaya Prahlad Nrsimha, Jaya Prahlad Nrsimha, Jaya Prahlad Nrsimha, Jaya
Nitai
Prahlad.
Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol.
Jai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari.
Shri Prahlad Narasimha Bhagwan ki jai. Shri Shri Paramakarne Tai Gaura Chandra ki Tai Gaura Premanande Hari.
Hare Krishna. So once again, we want to thank everyone who have been here for today's morning program, Sunday Love Feast, at the Hare Krishna Study Center. So a lot has been happening, as we mentioned earlier. So one of our devotees from elderly person by the name of, we call Uncle Dio. You know, many of you will remember Uncle Dio, originally from Mahaika, and in recent years he has been residing in Enmore. So he passed on a few days ago, and so we are mourning the loss of him. And also, as we mentioned, a few devotees are not well, like the Sevananda, Bhakta Sevananda, baby boy of Avinash Prabhu and Paramdam Mataji have been in the hospital, the ICU, for the last few days. So we want to pray for his recovery, his speedy recovery, as well as His Grace Radha Jivan Prabhu undertook a surgery this morning. So like that, and different things are happening. So let us all chant one Maha Mantra loudly together as a prayer, seeking the blessings of the Lord Krishna, our lordships here, that He can be with them and constantly, and that they can all recover very quickly together. Hare. So the Sunday feast this morning was specifically done as a dedication, as an offering on their behalf. So just before you go for lunch, Prashad, there's a brief announcement. So as we said, we're all gearing up for observing Janmashtami celebration here. So it's a 4 days program starting on Thursday 18th. That's going to be in the evening from 6. And then on Friday will be the main program. Throughout the day we'll have various activities. Like on Friday morning we'll begin at Mangal Artik. Then there'll be several Artik throughout the course of the day. And the main program will begin at 5 on Friday, and we'll go all the way up to midnight. Krishna appeared midnight, right? So that's why the program, midnight evening Artik will be there. On Saturday, we'll be observing Srila Prabhupada's Vyasa Puja. That is Srila Prabhupada's, this year will be 126th birth anniversary, appearance anniversary of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki! So on Saturday morning, we'll have program here at the temple at 9:30. So everyone is invited. And then we'll see you back here again on Sunday. Next Sunday will be the last day of the 4-day festivity for usual 10 o'clock program. So, that's what is upcoming. So, if you would like to assist with some little seva, some little services, as you know, when these festivals come up, there's abundant opportunities to render seva. Do you agree? Yes, there are a lot of services that are there. So if you like to, contribute, you want to like to help, give some vegetables, some fruits, flowers, whatever is it, you can connect with us. You can reach out to us, and we'll be there to facilitate that, for the pleasure of their lordships. So thank you all very much. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you very soon. Please take Bhojan Prasad to your full satisfaction. Hare Krishna.